And black.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Lunch with Linda. I'm Linda Daniels, and you are now inside Northampton Wools again. So thank you for showing up. I really, really appreciate it. Just let me know what you think sometimes in the comments, and I'll be happy. What a week! What a week! What a week! I feel like ever since December, since I got back from California, I have been on a high speed kind of treadmill. And this week, with everything that's happened here in the shop and around the shop, all the planning that I've had to do and the emails that I've had to answer, all I feel like I've hit a little bit of a pause. That's not true because, of course, there's still a lot of things to do, but at least I feel like a lot of the planning is done and things are set up. For example, getting the whole Gudrun class, the Taste of Fair Isle class going, that required a lot of work, and that is pretty much set and going to happen. Gudrun actually will be here on Wednesday. For those of you that were lucky enough to get into the class, because it did sell out, remember, she will be here on Wednesday putting together kits of the Spindrift yarn for the people in the class so that you will have some wonderful choices if you're in that class. Don't worry about the yarn. It's going to be all put together for you. I think she'll have several choices for you to make. But things like that have kept me moving. If you came to the Academy of Music yesterday to watch Dirty Dancing, you know that I was there with a little bit of a pop-up. And wasn't that fun?
I had so much fun.
Kate was there, Marianne Snow was there, and yeah, we all had a really good time. That was a lot of work to put together for me and get it all up there and set up, but now that's done. And I really, really hope that if you have a chance, there are two more movies. In 2 weeks, it's Julie and Julia, and then 2 weeks after that, it's When Harry Met Sally. And honest to God, they kept the lights up enough so that everybody in the audience that I saw were knitting or crocheting, and I also saw people doing embroidery and some beading even. So there was plenty of light, but it didn't interfere with the movie at all.
And I noticed when I was sitting on the sides, there's more light when you sit on the sides.
On the sides. And that's the other thing that I was going to mention too about watching a movie at the Academy. If you've ever been there, it's an absolutely beautiful historical building. But you really want to sit down front as far as possible because if you sit in the back, the poles that hold the balcony up can interfere. I saw people changing their seats a little bit. I sat in the way back so that if anybody needed something, I could get right up to the pop-up shop. And there was a pole in the middle, so I was moving a little bit like this when I had to in order to see the speaker in the movie. But it was so much fun, and the people at the Academy, both Melanie and Alinda, I think is her name, are really excited to be offering this kind of space to the community. I had a little conversation with the director of the Academy there, and she was asking me if there were other places out in the world that do this kind of thing. And I mentioned, you know, there's usually a group at the senior center, there's a couple of groups at libraries, and in some of the restaurants around, there's one at the Roost that meets every once in a while. In South Hadley on Tuesday night, there's one at the place called the Hangar that invite anybody with any craft to come and sit. And so I got the sense that the Academy is interested in being able to provide a space like that. Now, it's not free. You do have to pay admission to the movie, but you sort of get the best of both worlds. You get a little bit of time, alone time, away from your home in a group of like-minded people to work on your craft, and you get entertainment as well. The only sad thing is that they don't have a popcorn machine. I was so looking forward to buying movie popcorn, but they do not serve popcorn. They do serve candy. And I think you can probably even bring in your own drink, but don't tell them I said that.
When I lived at when I worked at
And
Amherst Cinema,
cinema.
there was so much popcorn on the ground every movie.
It makes a mess. It makes a real mess. So I understand completely. But look for those next two movies. You can go to one, you can go to both. I won't be at the other two. I won't be doing a pop-up for either one of the other two. Kate and I were talking and thought, oh, maybe the cooking store should do a little like book pop-up or something. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, if you went, it was great.
I saw some people that shop here, and we all decided, well, why aren't we just not going to all of them? Let's just go to all of them.
You should.
So that's
You
what I'm
definitely
doing.
should.
I'll be
Good.
there.
Good. All right, so that was this weekend. And then the football games yesterday. I didn't get to see the afternoon game, but the evening game sure was excited. And I don't know about you guys, but I do tend to get a lot of knitting done during the football games. And I am one of those, I usually cheer for the underdog, and then I can't watch. I came close to leaving the room a couple of times, but I stuck it out. I concentrated on my knitting and made it through. And I'm happy the teams that won. It was okay. Sorry, Catherine, but she's a big Chiefs fan. But I look forward to the Super Bowl because that's always an exciting day as well. So it was a busy weekend. You don't know what you were going to ask me?
I was just hearing that they played the Bills or something. The Bills were the underdog.
The Buffalo Bills were the
And they
underdog.
won?
And the Chiefs won.
Oh,
The
of
Bills
course,
did not. Yeah. But it was a good game. So now we just wait another week and then Super Bowl time. So we have gotten, of course, we're going to continue to get some new things in. And one of the things that I want to show you are some books. Like I said before, I've got a lot of crocheting books in, and we got in two really good how to crochet and how to knit books that I'm not going to show you. But if you're looking for, or you know somebody who wants to learn, we've got now in stock how to knit and how to crochet. One of the things that we have been seeing a lot of is needle felting. And I just got in this needle felting book, which is pretty beautiful. The things that you can make. And this book is really pretty complete as far as, I'll show you some of the instruction pages so that you can really understand how to make these adorable little things. And it's really broken down in steps. I think the pictures, there you go, pumpkin. You can make your own pumpkin. So on my list of things to do now is to order more of the little pieces of felt so that you'll have some things to do, something to do the things in this book from. But it's a beautiful book. It is... It's $23, $22.99, and really covers the whole process of needle felting. We always have felting needles here, and we still have the whole foam pads. Let me move this a little bit. And I haven't really ever done it, but there are people around that are teaching it. Hopefully someday she'll teach here. But we're getting that, and I love that book. The other thing that we got in was another new magazine from Lane, and this one is called Finish Knits. This is a special issue. It's not one of their regular yearly magazines. I think the magazine is coming out 4 times a year. This is one of their special issue books. The last one they did was Nordic Knits, and now this one is called Finish Knits. And everyone who's looked at it absolutely loves that sweater on the cover. And it is, as usual, filled with some really beautiful pieces. And I'm happy to say, pieces that are not in tiny little yarn. I mean, look at that for an unusual way to combine colors. So this middle part is the gray and the yellow used together, but the neckline and the bottom edge are just the gray.
That's a cool neckline.
Isn't that a cool neckline?
Yeah.
It has buttons on it. But look at this one. This, I love the name of this too. This is called Crow Feet. This one is done in a lighter weight yarn. Thank you. But I love the way that looks in lots of different color combinations.
It's natural without being obvious.
Exactly. You kind of look at it and go, I know that must mean something. Botanical. But this cabled sweater, holy cow. Look at the cables in that sweater. It is dark on the page, and that's the only picture that really shows the entire sweater.
There's some different looking cables on there.
There are, because I've used a cable like that in a sweater that I did for Frog Tree a long time ago. I called it Swan, because it's swan wings or something like that. It's really a gorgeous book. Look at this one. A little bit of lace, a little bit of seed stitch.
I love that collar too. Folded collar.
Yeah. So this is in stock. We have it ready for you. Some very interesting and very not only knittable, but wearable things in here. This pattern is not in here, but I think you could find it online. Look at that vest pattern from Sandy's.
Sandy's yarn?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I really like it. Like it. So we've got 15 copies, except for minus the couple that we've already sold. But that is here now. Then the company called Issager is a company that we have done business with off and on for a little while. And Marianne Issager is a really prominent designer. Her stuff is just gorgeous. And if you saw our Instagram post, you will know that we now have a Knitting Life 3. This is a huge hardcover book. I haven't even had time to really look through it, but it's
that I've been thinking about ever since I saw it.
Just beautiful. Look at that one. So this really, there's some great articles in here, as well as this circle. This, I want to do this.
Oh, that
I
one.
so want to do this circle one. You get to the right page, there it is. Circles and stripes.
That's so fun.
I just saw a post, it must have been Natalie's from Knitting Off Broadway, that she's already got customers working on that one.
Oh, I'm trying to find the one that I just
Okay.
died over.
They're all gorgeous, and each pattern has a story to go with it, and she shows you many photographs.
This one's my favorite. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Oh, that is
The
beautiful.
shawl collar.
Yep.
You know I need a cardigan to get too warm.
So this is a Knitting Life book 3. We also have book 1 and book 2 on order, but there's a little bit of a mix-up, so we're just waiting for those to come in, and hopefully we'll find some time to knit some of them. Time, it's the magic word.
Like a swatch page too. The
Yes,
photography-
they don't just show the sweater, they actually show a swatch, and I think the swatches are meant to be true to size.
Because look at how big they are on that page.
So I think you can make a swatch and then hold it up to this and just see how close you are.
Oh, Linda, I'm just so excited about the book. I keep covering.
Oh, thanks.
It does look like they're to size. 'Cause there's a whole
I do
page.
think so. Yes.
It's really cool.
It is really cool. So if you haven't seen those books before, you'll want to definitely take a look. We only have 2 left. We've already sold 1, but we can get more when we know that people want them. So since this is in front of me, I'm going to talk about this too. We have a collection of the earth patterns, and if you saw the YouTube on Saturday, I knew that Rachel was coming, but there was confusion about what day. Originally, we had thought that she was coming on Saturday, but then Shauna emailed me and said something about her coming on Monday. So when Rachel showed up on Saturday, it was a tiny bit of a surprise, but a very exciting one to me. And I was so happy that I was able to spend time with her. She is a true delight. If you haven't watched the video, and it's on the YouTube channel with her, please do. She reeled in here with a huge suitcase, threw it open, and just started showing all kinds of models from Earth Yarns. And Earth Yarns does the unique yarns, which are the self-striping yarns that are really very popular in both sock, worsted, and DK weight. They also do a yarn called Harvest, which is their plant-dyed wool, machine washable wool, and that comes in both fingering weight, DK weight, and worsted weight. We have all of them. And then 2 years ago they did, maybe it was even longer than that, maybe it was 3 years ago, they did a yarn called 16 Merino. It's a really high quality, the highest quality merino that you can purchase. That comes just in tonal colors because it is still hand dyed. And then the spiral grain, and that comes in both a fingering weight, although it's called sport, and a light worsted weight, which is truly a DK weight. And we have all of them. You guys have heard me talk about Earth Yarns before. You've met Emre. We've had him as a guest a couple of times. Well, now Rachel is sort of the travel around the States person. She lives in Turkey, so she is only going to be able to be here maybe once or twice a year. But she was so joyful, and her enthusiasm just shone out like anything. And I'm not sure if you were able to completely understand everything that she said for two reasons. Her accent, and she was a softer talker, and there was a lot of background noise because we were still open and it was a very busy Saturday. But what she was saying was that some of those models, the brand new ones that do not yet have a finished pattern, she actually stole out of the warehouse. I'm going to put stole in quotation marks because they know that she took them. She borrowed them, but she was saying I stole them, so that she would have new things to show. And there were a couple of pieces that we cannot wait to have in the store. First of all, that little bandana cowl that was basically a square, but half of it was done with the 16, and then the other half was done with the Lan alpaca, which we have in stock. You want to grab a couple skeins of it? Because I didn't. It is a yarn that has not gotten a lot of attention. We have a hat knit out of it, but I think we're going to have to knit something else. This is an alpaca and wool blend that is a boucle, and man, is it soft. And because of the way it's made, you can see there's a binder around it, and what happens is in the machine, that black thread is being pulled at one tension, and the yarn that it's getting wrapped with is being pulled at less of a tension. So the yarn goes round and round and round in a little spiral, and the binder stays taut. And that's how you end up with these little crinkles of yarn. You can see them right there. That's what gives it its boucle texture. Now, what we were saying too was a couple of things. This boucle is wound tightly enough so that the loops of boucle are not big. Boucle used to be really easy to find in a mohair, and I bet you can even picture it because the mohair had tiny little circles of mohair around the binder. And it was harder to knit with because your knitting needle would often get stuck in the side, those little circles. So people didn't really like to knit with it all that much. It was harder. This does not have that. These are wound tightly enough so that the yarn is more of a bump than a circle. So it's pretty easy to knit with, and it's meant to be knit on a big needle. They're recommending starting with a size 11 up to a 15. So half that little triangle was knit with the boucle, and then the other half was done with the 16 worsted, one skein of each. And what Rachel was telling us is that all of the colors are dyed to match. That may sound like, well, of course they are, but that's hard. It's a really hard thing to do because, first of all, we're talking about two different types of fiber, and fibers take dyes differently. So to get them even close is a big deal. And you can see in the 16, I think you can see in the skein where the tonal quality comes in, there's movement in that color. It's not flat, all one color. So you can, with one skein of each, you can get a really dramatic little triangle scarf. And that thing had little slits in it, so one end stuck through the other. It just looked so
it seemed like
cute.
This sort of kept it in place.
It did. It gave it some weight so that it stayed right where it was supposed to do. That is a pattern that's not out yet, but as soon as it comes out, we are going to have it, and Kate's going to make it. She's going to push me out of the way to get to her color. It will be in this notebook right here, Earth Yarns, because that is where we have all of their other patterns. And I didn't look beforehand if we have the coloration. The coloration was the blanket that we showed, and I know it came out as a scarf pattern a while ago. I'm not 100% convinced that I printed it out.
I remember printing it.
Do you?
We sold it though.
Yeah. So we'll. Oh, there it is.
Right there. And they have a hood.
So that's the Bon hood
So cool.
that she had done, and then this is the coloration scarf. So while you're waiting for the blanket pattern, you could make the coloration scarf, because all the blanket is the scarf made larger, and that's done with the Lan alpaca. They've got 3 new colors of it, and I ordered all 3 of those coming. So we will be able to do some great dramatic knitting with the colors that they've got coming. So new yarn from them were basically new colors in all of the yarns, which I ordered. And also they have a new summer yarn coming, which I ordered. It is a cotton and linen blend, and it is so pretty and so wearable. I've talked about linen last week, about doing the dando, which I am also going to order. That's 100% linen. This cotton linen blend from Earth Yarns is, I want to say 50-50, but it might be 75-25. When you look at the skein, and it comes in a 100-gram skein, which is also really nice. The linen, again, takes the dye differently than the cotton. And so you can see a little like wrap, although it's more like a twist because the fibers are all mixed. But you can see the 2 different fibers wrapped together, and the linen is exquisitely smooth. You do not see the little hairs of the linen sticking out. I was really impressed, which is why I ordered it, because I was reluctant, honestly, to order another cotton and linen for the shop because it just doesn't move that well. The other thing that I cannot wait to make is the maxi tee. The one she showed that was self-striping out of the fingering weight. We have the mini tee in, but the maxi tee is coming, and boy, that's going to be a perfect summer sweater. She had it done in the unique fingering, so it was wool, but I think that we'll be able to find other things to make it in as well.
People are dying to know what your sweater is.
Okay. And when I put it on this morning, I said to myself, do not forget, even though you've worn it before, to talk about your sweater. This is Autumn Alpine, and there is...
Use the Freya.
I used the Patagonia and the Freya. So the Freya yarn is a self-striping yarn, and the Patagonia is a solid color yarn from Juniper Moon. I used one color of the Freya, and there's enough so that you get through almost through the entire skein. It's got about 400 yards. One of the problems about doing a yoke sweater with a self-striping yarn or a gradient yarn is that you don't always get through all the color because there can be big chunks of it. But the Freya yarn, it's Freya hand paints. This is the fingering, might be called the shawl ball, something like that. We've got those colors in. Autumn Alpine. There's also an alpine hat.
There's a whole collection.
There is. There's more than just the sweater. It's this, and they all have that same flower on them, but look for autumn alpine.
We'll
I think
link
it's
everything
Boyland Knitworks. Yeah, Kate will put the link to the pattern
in the show notes.
in the show notes later on so that you can see it. It is definitely one of my favorite sweaters. I just love the way it came out, and the color I think is really, really good. Okay, so watch for all new earth yarns, all new patterns. We'll post them and say something about it when they actually become available. It looks like many of them are in testing phase, so they should be out in another week or so. All right.
That was a lot of pattern talk.
A lot of pattern talk. So couple of last things. We are entering the third week of our clearance sale, and it is time to take another big markdown on some of these clearance sale yarns, especially since we are now days away from some of the new summer things coming. We need the room. One of the yarns that we have put on sale that was 25% off is now 50% off, and that brings the price down to $9 a skein. These are all on the clearance page on the website, and we're happy to ship them to you, but it is the Supreme, the Brazilian Merino Supreme from Circulo. I'm not sure I have all the C's in that are supposed to be there. This is 100% merino wool, and it comes in some multi and some solid color solid color colors. It's 73 yards a skein, and there are lots of colors to choose from, and we do have inventory
I just wanted to
in
show
it.
that, like, the blues. And
So
the
they match.
And the green.
So they go together. So when we moved all of this on Saturday, and I'm looking at it, you should really be on a 13 or a 15 when you knit this. I made a sweater out of this on the 19, and if you remember, I was not happy with it. I thought it was too loose for it. But on the 13 or 15, it's going to be great. And the coloration blanket pattern or scarf will actually be a good one for this. And we have the coloration blanket pattern because they just released it. I just haven't downloaded it yet, so we will have that. But I also thought, what a great, simple, bulky weight squares this would make as well. Just take one skein, you could knit just a garter stitch or seed stitch square. You could do a mitered square and get 6 colors and put them together, and you've got a decent sized lap blanket. And at $9 a skein, even if you used 10 of them, that's under $100 to make a blanket. So this is one yarn that now is 50% off and at a ridiculous $9. I'm going to get up so that we can scan over some of the other sales, because I just want to show you some of what the prices are. We've moved most of, it's not all the sale yarn, but we have pushed all the sale yarn here. We've marked the confetti down 50% off. It's now $13. Remember, one skein of that does this really easy roll hat on a size 13, and we give you the pattern for that free. And it does come in some solid colors, so you can add, if you got a solid with a multi, you could make a stripe and you could make 2 hats, one in both combinations. We also marked the Fiesta down 50%, so that's now $18.75. We marked down the Bossa Nova, and this is another really nice merino wool from Circulo. This is a superwash in more of a chunky or bulky weight. This has 169 yards per skein, and it feels so soft.
I used 3 skeins of that to make a Sophie shawl.
Ah, that's a great tip, Kate.
Size 9 meter.
So there isn't a pattern for it, right?
No, the Sophie shawl is a separate pattern.
No, but it doesn't. It's not written for bulky weight, is what I mean.
Sophie shawl is written for worsted weight.
And so is that the one you used, the pattern that you used, but instead you used a size 9 needle. 3 skeins you used for that.
For
Man,
the large.
for your big one. Nice.
Too
So
bad I didn't wear it today, but
yeah. So 3 skeins of that, and pretty much this is all that's left of the Bossa Nova. Now I think this is what's left because I emptied the bag of purple in here.
yeah.
And then this is all that's left of the Ms. Me. And you know what? I just made a big mistake. This is actually $10.50. I was reading the wrong tag. $10.50?
I know.
For $32, you can make a Sophie shawl.
Big one.
This is the Ms. Me. This is 100% baby alpaca. This is the one that's now $18.75.
Wait, up close because I can barely see what it is.
Oh, yeah. This is really interesting because this is a plied yarn where one of the plies is multicolored and the other is solid. Now, this is all we have, but it does have 218 yards. So there's plenty in 2 skeins to do a scarf. 1 skein is definitely going to do a hat or a cowl. A pair of mittens out of this stuff would be absolute heaven as well because that's really soft and very warm. And right underneath it is the Artisano, and that's now down to $12. This yarn is so neat because not only is it multicolored, but it has flex. So there's a little bit of a tweed in it as well. Can you see those little colored flecks in there?
They're so cool, yeah.
And in the dark one, we do have more of this downstairs. So it's not just what's on the shelf, but this one is a really neat one as well. We've got some of the fairy floss still left, and we also have marked the Beatrix down to $12.50 a skein. This is a really soft, oh my gosh, it's so soft.
It's like a cloud.
It really is like a cloud. I have to make myself something in that too. But I've been talking about doing a sample sweater sale, and we have finally reached the point where I could actually do something about it, meaning start it. And this is one of the sweaters that I have put on sale, and this is knit with the Artisano. So you can see what it looks like knit up. And it really is pretty with that little bit of striping. It's not, it looks kind of like a stripe, but it's not like a stripe all the way across. You can see it ends and changes. But this sweater was $285, and it's marked down to $150. We are going to put these sweaters on the website. By Wednesday, they'll be there so that you could buy it on the website, but you can't try it on, obviously. But they're going to be outdoors or around the shop if it's snowing or raining. This one is the Ms. Me. This is knit with the Ms. Me. That's 100% baby alpaca. This one also has a very erratic stripe going through it. This is marked down. It was $375. It's now $200. So warm and cozy. The souffle, this one is my design that I did for Plymouth Yarn. This one is a size small. It was $345, and it's now marked down to $150. So we're going to be adding more sweaters to this rack. And the reason they're on sale, like this one, this is the Easy V, and we've had this in the shop for a while. We did knit this out of the Owl from Quince and Company, but we're not, and the Entropy Decay is the multicolor in there. But we are not going to be carrying the Owl anymore, and so we don't need the model anymore. It's aggravating and frustrating for both customers and us. If we have a model in the store, somebody comes in, falls in love with it, and wants to make it, they want to make it in the yarn that we've shown it in. And so and we have to say, no, we don't have it anymore. So the models need to find new homes of people that will love them and cherish them. And as usual, you can say you made it. We don't have a problem with your saying that at all. This one is Karaz. This one is an alpaca and wool blend with all of that nice color work at the bottom. So the rack will be up. And like I said, we will be adding to it. That's not everything. I'm going to go back over there because we just took things down off the shelf. So for a while, our cupboards are going to look a little bare while we get ready to do all new models for summer or for next fall. Phew. Okay. I think that's it. It looks like we're going to have maybe a little bit of wetness this week. And certainly out in California, they need it, and they're getting it there. I was talking to my son out there yesterday, and they were getting some nice rain. Not too heavy, but some fairly steady rain. But it is still winter. We made it almost through January, and here comes February, and who knows what February brings. Sometimes we can get buried. Sometimes we can freeze our little fingers off. And sometimes it can just sail through. So hopefully you keep on keeping on and you find time this week to go knit something. Bye-bye.